Hey there guys, how's it going? So yeah, I just got done watching AJ versus Pulev. I was actually really surprised by moments of this fight. Now, the first couple of rounds were very close. They could have gone either way in my opinion. Both guys were very cagey, on the back foot, just throwing speculative jabs and the occasional right, and not really looking to engage or get close and take any risks, as you'd expect in a fight of this magnitude. Then in the third round, Anthony Joshua comes out and drops Kubrat Pulev 2 times, and I thought for sure the fight was over. I was about to just turn it off at that point. I was like, okay, the fight's over. Just come and make my post-fight vid. But to my surprise, Kubrat Pulev actually weathered the storm, and he came back. And for the rest of the fight, up until the ninth, which was where the fight ended, Pulev was in the fight, even though he was losing the rounds. He was giving it to AJ here and there. He was backing him up. He was getting the jab going, and occasionally he was landing shots. It was never enough to really bother AJ, but I was quite surprised by how easily he was backing AJ up. Like, I really expected AJ to be the overwhelming aggressor in this fight. I didn't really think that Pulev, at this stage of his career, who's nearly 40 years old and who's been so inactive, I didn't think that Pulev had the power or the physical strength to really impose himself on AJ. But he was actually really making AJ sweat here and there. On the inside, he was roughing AJ up. He was occasionally landing a shot inside. And I just felt it was a little bit of a flawed performance from AJ. And I tell you one thing right now, Tyson Fury is going to be looking at that fight, and he's going to be thinking, if I can get inside on AJ, and if I can back him up and rough him up and land some little cuff shots here and there, it's going to be target practice. I'm sure that's what Tyson Fury is thinking, having watched that fight. But yeah, AJ comes back to knock Kubrat Pulev out in the ninth. There was some good sneaky little uppercuts. That's one of the things that AJ does best in the ring, is he sort of drags you onto that right uppercut. And yeah, he was catching Pulev with some of the same shots he ultimately caught Klitschko with. And yeah, it was a good finish from AJ, but like I said, it was a somewhat flawed performance. I do think that Anthony Joshua, as impressive as the finish was, and the fact that he was able to score multiple knockdowns was quite impressive. I think that there are a lot of heavyweights out there, particularly Tyson Fury. And Tyson Fury is the guy who obviously Eddie Hearn wants to match AJ with next, because that's the big money fight. That's the undisputed fight. But yeah, there were a few things I noticed in there from AJ. Like, his defense looked very leaky. There are still questions on his punch resistance. His chin all through his career has been suspect ever since the amateurs. I mean, AJ was dropped in the amateurs on a few occasions. So I just think that, as impressive as he was, and he won the fight. We all knew he was going to win the fight. He was a 35-1 favourite, so of course he was going to beat Pulev. And of course, at this stage of Pulev's career, being nearly 40 years old, I mean, he's what, 39, so he's pushing 40. Okay, at 39 years old, Pulev was never going to be at his prime. And I tell you right now, based on what I saw tonight, I think a prime Kubrat Pulev could have given AJ a tough fight, but nonetheless, the fight happened. AJ won by knockout, as we all knew he would, or we all suspected he would. And yeah, I really look forward to that Tyson Fury fight, man. As far as the undercard, I caught the Hughie Fury Marius Wack fight. Hughie Fury was more aggressive and took a lot more risks in that fight than what we're used to seeing him take. And I thought he did all right to win against a guy as big and as tough as Marius Vac. I also saw the Lawrence Okolie fight. He had an opponent who was there on a late replacement. That Polak dude, he smashed him in 2 rounds. Easy peasy. That was pretty much all there was to talk about. So yeah, Joshua, decent performance. Pulev showed a lot of heart. So yeah, God bless him. Let me know what you guys think anyway. Thanks for watching. God bless.